this is Lit Happens, your celebration of the literary arts here in Saskatchewan. Today I'm very pleased to welcome Brian James Hildebrand to the show. Brian, welcome to Lit Happens.
Hi, well, thanks for having me.
Well, I hear you have a new book out. Can you tell me a little bit about what led you to want to be a writer?
All right. Well, back when I was 10 years old, in my grade 4 class, I read the book The War with Mr. Wizzle by Gordon Corman, and I remember reading in the author little bio at the back that he'd written his first book by the time he was 12 years old, and I was determined to beat him. That didn't work out, but it kind of stayed with me through the years. Creative writing was my favorite class through all of elementary school. That it wasn't really in high school was a disappointment. Grade 11, when we got to do a research paper on whatever we wanted, I actually did it on what it would take to become an author. So my want to become an author has been there throughout my entire life, and it's really just in the last couple of years that I finally managed to take that dream and finally make it a reality.
So Brian, did you continue to write even throughout high school and after high school?
Yes, in fact, the original idea for One Spell came to me, I guess, 11 years ago now when I was in grade 12. It's changed a lot since then, but yeah, this is an idea I've had for over a decade.
So tell me, so it took a decade to come to this point. When you started actually getting serious about writing, how long did it take you to write this book?
When I started getting serious about writing, I got this book finished in about 3 years. Admittedly, there were huge pockets of nothing getting done within those 3 years, so I feel confident that if I can remove those pockets from the next book, that I can get it out a lot faster, which is good considering this is the first book in a series.
So can you tell me a little bit about the book?
All right. Well, once reviews so far have kind of told me that it's a bit of a Harry Potter of the Prairies. I agree, but I think it's a little bit more mature than the Harry Potter books, at least the early ones. And how do I put this? I always get a little blank for a moment before I catch my thoughts. And I guess what I did with the story is you hear all of these stories like Harry Potter and dozens of other ones where there's like some hidden magic society that's separate from the rest of the world. And I decided that I wanted a story that was about that hidden magical world and the fight over whether or not it's time to stop being hidden, whether it's time for the world to know that magic is real. And so with that, it's a bit more morally complicated than things like Harry Potter, where Voldemort is very, very clearly evil. Because in this one, the villains, if you can even really call them villains, are just people who think it's time that the world knows magic is real.
And so by calling it the Harry Potter of the Prairies, does that mean it's actually set here on the prairies?
I don't overemphasize the fact, but the story does take place here in Saskatoon.
Oh, well, that's really interesting. And so you've you've started someplace that you know, and I think that a lot of people say that writing the places into our books that we know is an important thing. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, I could have chosen for it to be anywhere, but Saskatoon was easier. It gets that bit of Saskatchewan, Prairie, probably even on a wider basis, some Canadian pride in that. But at the same time, as I said, I didn't overemphasize it because I find, and this is just my own looking around, that if you overemphasize where a story is from, you alienate it from people who aren't from there.
And on the other side of that, if people recognize little bits, then there's a little bit of pride of place as well.
Absolutely.
So you it's a fine balance, and if you can sort of balance that out, it works to really encourage readers from all over the world to read it.
Exactly.
So what was your favorite part about writing this book?
I think it was, well, I like first drafts more than editing, but the first draft was not quite where I wanted the story to be, and I think that where I got happiest about it was going to the second draft, where I found my style of writing, and it's already being reflected in other stories I've worked on, which is stories that are told from first-person point of view, but at each chapter alternate which character's first-person point of view is telling the story. I mean, my main character, Blaine, tells, I think, 18 of the 32 chapters in this story, but there are 5 other characters who tell the other 14 chapters.
So you've really had to delve into the personalities of your characters to create those different voices in the story.
Absolutely. I mean, surprisingly, I didn't do it for this book, but all of the other books that I've been planning, I have journals with at least 250 pages of backstory written, including at least 2 to 5 pages of backstory on every single main character.
Excellent. So you're really creating you're building a new world then
Oh,
as well.
absolutely.
You've got some familiarity here in the prairies, but you've also created something that you really know. And do you really love this world that you've created?
I love all of the worlds I've created because this is just one of many. But yeah, I'd say I love it. I love creating the new worlds rather than always sticking to strictly our world. I'll admit to being a bit of an escapist. Sci-fi, fantasy, superhero stories, they were what I grew up on. They're what I love to read. They're what I love to write. And so I guess you could say that almost everything I'm writing is the kind of stuff that gets turned into those big Hollywood blockbusters. Fingers crossed.
And so you've said that this is the beginning of a series. How many other books do you have in the works?
Well, this book is the first book in a planned 4-book series, with the later books being 2 Hex, 3 Charm, and I'm debating whether the last one will be called 4 Curse or Final Curse. But I've got other books on the way that might even get out faster. I have another book series for a younger preteen audience about a team of superheroes. It's called The Renegades, and I'm actually hoping to have that one out by this summer.
And so this series you've written for older teens, is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say that if I had to pin it down to an exact age, the target audience of this is 15, 16-year-olds.
Excellent. And so where do we find your books? Where can we purchase them?
Right now, it is available at McNally Robinson in Saskatoon. It is selling on Amazon.com. I am currently working on fixing some problems to get the ebook out and available, and to my understanding, it should be available at the Saskatoon Public Library right now to check out, though I honestly should have double-checked in on that before coming to this interview.
That's okay. And so, and do you have a website?
Yes, www.theglassescomeoff.com. Spelt exactly the way those 4 words together would sound, no spaces in it.
Excellent.
Yeah, admittedly, I haven't kept the website as up-to-date as I should. Another thing I should be working on.
Well, you know, we're always working forward and improving and getting things out there. So thank you so much, Brian, for being with me today. That's all the time we have. Today's guest was Brian James Hildebrand. This is Lit Happens. You can find past episodes on Shaw TV Saskatoon's YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. I'm Danica Lore. You can contact me on Facebook, you can follow me on Twitter, or you can contact me at danicalore@gmail.com.